Hey, my friends, it's Matt. This is the 10-Minute Bible Hour podcast, and we're working on goodness. We started on it yesterday, and we're going to finish it today. And you might think, why would that take 2 days? I didn't listen to yesterday's episode. Tell me how that could take 2 days, because goodness seems really obvious. It's just, not bad. Why couldn't you have just said that goodness just means not badness? Then we all could have pictured things that are bad and know that it's just not that, and that would get it done. Well, the reason is because the word good is mushy in English. It's lost punch and meaning, but it had punch and meaning in the Bible in the original languages, so we're bouncing around the Bible yesterday and today trying to get a sense of what was really meant, how the original audience would have understood goodness on this list of the fruit of the Spirit. And I feel like if we don't do that, we're going to cheat ourselves out of something that's on this elite list that clearly we're supposed to understand because it's on this list of the beautiful, perfect attributes of God that he imparts to people. So we're going to pick up right where we left off yesterday after my close personal friend Jeffrey Foote plays some sassy music. Here we go. Matthew 5:16. Oh, I mean, you can piece together what this one is. It's one verse before the key verse of the book of Matthew and the first of the big five speeches around which the book of Matthew is structured. Matthew 5:16. In the same way, let your light shine before men so that they may see your good deeds and praise your Father in heaven. That's nice. Maybe the "that's nice" thing kind of applies here, that people would look at it and they would give it a Shirley Bennett, "that's nice." I mean, it's better than not nice. And sometimes it's just, I don't know, me, maybe not you, but me. Sometimes I'll try to do this stupid, edgy thing where I'm like, yeah, the obvious way to say it is obvious. And the obvious little nicety in this conversation is obvious. So I'm going to try to be not obvious and clever and nice. Nice by clever. And that usually backfires on me. I need to probably put a bullet in that social practice and just go right through the front door with obvious nice every time. But there's something to be said for just the universal language of the stuff that people look at and they're like, yeah, that's good and that's bad. That's pleasant and that's unpleasant. And to just do things or communicate in such a way out of consideration that it models things that are good and pleasant. I don't know. Staying in Matthew for just a minute, here's another one that immediately comes to mind when you think about the idea of goodness in the Bible. Remember Matthew 25, the passage about the talents, the three different servants get given three different amounts to invest and take care of by the master. And two of them do a good job. One of them does a lousy job. And what does Jesus say to the people who handle, or what does the master say to the servants who handle that investment right, who are vested properly? He says, well done, good and faithful servant. I'm not going to lie. I want to hear that someday. I think about that one a lot. It lives in my head. Well, there's that word good again. And the Greek on that one is agathos. So it's identical to the word good, or goodness, as it were, that's used in the fruit of the Spirit passage that we've been working on. And just because I can, and because it's interesting thematically, I'm going to bounce back to the beginning of Matthew for just a minute. Matthew 3:10. This is John the Baptist talking here, but look at how the language lines up with what we're dealing with the fruit of the Spirit thing. John's out baptizing people. The Pharisees and the Sadducees come to check it out, and he yells at them. John the Baptist says, "You brood of vipers, who warned you to flee from the coming wrath, produce fruit in keeping with repentance. And don't think you can say to yourselves, we have Abraham as our father. I tell you that out of these stones, God can raise up children for Abraham. The axe is already at the root of the tree, and every tree that does not produce good fruit will be cut down and thrown into the fire." That imagery is pretty interesting, right? We had the stuff the other day with the vine and the branches from the middle of the Gospel of John, like 14, 15, and 16. All of that seems to undergird the fruit of the Spirit passage, but also these words of John the Baptist seem connected to the middle of John, and they seem connected to the fruit of the Spirit stuff in Galatians chapter 5. And what do you know? Good, or goodness, or these qualities that make a fruit observably and obviously what it's supposed to be and right. That's the measurement that's to be used on what it would look like to get it right, according to John the Baptist. Produce good fruit. I just like this concept, and it's not just here. I mean, Peter was in attendance in Matthew chapter 5 in the Sermon on the Mount, and clearly he internalized this idea of letting the goodness of God, the good things that God builds in you as a follower of God, show before other people, not necessarily to impress everybody, but to point people to God. And Peter closely and directly links goodness with other fruit of the Spirit that we've talked about. One example is 1 Peter 3:11, where he says he must turn from evil and do good. He must seek peace and pursue it. All right, so Peter's likening goodness or connecting goodness to another fruit of the Spirit there in peace. But also his idea throughout is like, hey, you guys are suffering and you might suffer more. If that happens, let it be because of the goodness that you're doing, the stuff that looks like Jesus, and don't let it be because you're being idiots. All right, here's another pretty obvious one that you probably already thought of and were shrieking in your sweaty unitard on the treadmill, at the gym. Luke 18:19. This one's come up a lot of late as we've been working on Galatians here. Why do you call me good? Jesus answered, no one's good except God alone. Huh. Well, there it is. I mean, that means that God is more than nice. Like, surely the concept here is more significant than that's nice, because God is more than trite, likable, safe, HR nice. He's good, virtuous, beautiful, symmetrical, ordered, beneficial, all of those concepts, anything good that you can think of from ancient world notions of good. God is that, and really God alone is truly all of those things in his perfection. And then finally, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, there's the Good Shepherd passage in John 10. I am the Good Shepherd, says Jesus. The Good Shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. The hired hand is not the shepherd who owns the sheep. So when he sees the wolf coming, he abandons the sheep and runs away. Then the wolf attacks the flock and scatters it. The man runs away because he's a hired hand and cares nothing for the sheep. I am the Good Shepherd. I know my sheep and my sheep know me. That's a pretty beautiful, pretty powerful passage where Jesus clearly thinks the word good is enough to carry the meaning of a shepherd who gets it right, a shepherd who gets it perfect, frankly. So I don't think that the best way to read Galatians 5 and the list of the fruit of the Spirit when we get to goodness is necessarily perfection, like the perfection of God. But what do we see as a theme between all of this stuff? It's peaceful, it's beautiful, it's virtuous, it's demonstrative of kingdom values when something is good. It hangs together. It's right, intuitively right, virtuously right, aesthetically right. I don't know, piece it together. It's kind of a tricky one. The point is, it is so much more than how this word comes off in English as nice or fair. And when we see the word goodness, it functions as kind of a Rorschach test, an ink blot on a page. We're going to look at that and be like, that's good, that's not good, with whatever maybe political or social alignments we might have today. We'll kind of inflict that on the word in English. It's a pretty weak and abused word in English at this point, but it was a rich and robust word in the source language that we're looking at here in this material. And just because the word's been tamed a little bit in our language, it doesn't mean the concept should be tamed. We're supposed to read this and be like, dang, I mean, that's beautiful, and we want that, and that is one of the attributes of God that is imparted to us as we walk by the Spirit. All right. I think that was a pretty good episode. I'm at peace with all of this, and I hope Jeff, somewhere along the way here, has given us some pretty good music to work with as well. I've had a lovely time. I'm Matt. This is the 10-Minute Bible Hour podcast. Let's do this again soon.